Alright guys, this is my first time using this. Welcome to the Force10 Racing Garage. As you can see here, we've moved from our last venue. If you've seen any other videos, I'm trying to back up here and not like trip on myself. This is the first time using a selfie stick, so excuse me. But anyway, today we are working on the Cadillac, not the Sky. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be installing a front splitter. Now these front splitters that I have, I got two. One is going on the car, the other one is probably going in the trash. The one that's going in the trash came with some other parts that I've used on the car, and it just really is not the same quality as the other one. The one that's going in the trash, and I see if you can see it here. This one is kind of generic. It's multiple pieces. It's flat, as you can see. Get the middle piece out. So this is the center section. You can see that's pretty flat. It doesn't have a lot of contours to it. If you look at the front of the car, which we'll be showing you in a second, it comes up in the middle and drops down on the sides. And when you do that, you want your splitter to follow that line, and this one just doesn't. It's listed as a universal splitter to go on any car with some fitment required. And while it may work for some cars, it may work for your car. It's not very expensive. It and the other parts are, I think, maybe $50. Again, these are not high quality splitters. They're not meant to be. They're just meant to something to look pretty. So for the price, I mean, I got to use the other parts, and that was worth it. But this, yeah, definitely not. So anyway, the one we're going to be using is this one here. And as you can see, this one also comes in multiple pieces. You have seams here. I hope that picks that up. And but on this one, you'll notice that it does indeed have a curve to it that follows the curve of the car. So we'll go up and show you that real quick. Again, not used to this thing. Walking to the garage, got my entertainment playing on the TV. So if you look up here, you can see on the front of the car how it has that contoured on the bottom lip. So that goes up in the middle, then across, then back down, and that follows it much nicer. So, next, we'll move on to putting this on. So the way we're going to do it is you notice that it does have 3M. You're not sponsored by them, but 3M double-sided tape. And the reason I use 3M double-sided tape is because it actually sticks. They do give you double-sided tape with this splitter, and this splitter again was like $50. Not an expensive splitter, not a high-quality splitter. It is plastic. You can see it is very flimsy. It is not going to do a lot to funnel air, I don't believe. But again, a little nicer look to the car. So the reason we're using 3M tape, not the tape that it comes with, is the tape it comes with is not all that sticky. 3M tape is very sticky. If you ever put badges on a car, the badges that are on your car are probably held on with 3M double-sided tape. And if you ever try to get them off, you know how much of a pain in the butt it is. So this stuff sticks. However, we are not relying on 3M double-sided tape. If you look, I don't know if the camera will pick this up, but if you look, there are holes in the splitter for screws. So the double-sided tape is basically going to be used to hold this in place, where we drill out these holes and put in screws to hold this on even more secure. This thing will not go anywhere unless it takes the front bumper off with it when we're done. So, the first thing I need to do is take a knife. I got a little X-Acto knife sitting over here. I'm going to take that knife and take the red backing off this double-sided tape, so that way it's all sticky, and then we'll go line it up, put it on the car, and go from there. So, as you can see now, all the back siding is off the tape. We have the 3M tape exposed now, so we can use it. Now with 3M tape, one of the beautiful things with it is that if you just touch the surface, she won't stick very well. So it gives you some options as far as maneuvering this piece. But what we're going to do is we're going to start in the center and kind of work our way out from there. This piece is a little bit flexible, and I mean a little bit, so it'll give us a little bit of fudge factor room. But we want to get this centered and as straight as possible the first time in the middle. The way this goes on is that the bumper actually has a lip similar to this here. I don't know if you can see it, but basically this is flat here, and then right here at the edge it comes up. So this flat piece has to go under the bumper, and this is actually where the piece attaches to the car, is this flat section. This section goes up against the bumper, so when you look at the bumper, this almost looks like an extension of the bumper itself. It's not, but, and it doesn't look exactly like that. It does look like a splitter, which is kind of what we're going for, but it's close, and it's close enough. So what we'll do is we'll put this on the car, we'll get kind of in the place, when we get it where we want it exactly, then we'll push on the bottom of it, and that pressure that we'll place on the bottom of this part will squeeze this tape between the part and the bumper, and that force, that squeezing force, is what makes this kind of tack up. Now you're supposed to have it on there for a certain period of time before you use it, blah, blah, blah. However, all we need to use it for right now is to hold in place, and that'll give us more than enough strength to do that. As we put the screws in, those screws will cinch this up against the bumper, and that'll put the rest of the clamping force we need on this tape to really get it to hold nice and secure against that bumper. So, with that done, let's go ahead and move to the front of the car, and we'll go from there. So now we're here. We got a decent shot of the bumper. You can see this lip. That's the lip I was talking about before. It's going to meet up with the lip on the front of this. And there's a flat piece underneath here that goes way back. And we got a huge air dam back here. And intercooler. I think that's intercooler. It could be radiator, but who knows. Anyway, so yeah. So we have this point here, and we have this point here. And those 2 points kind of need to line up because that's the center section of the front bumper. So we'll slide under here a bit, put this splitter on our lap, and kind of line all this up. I think that's just better. I'm trying not to touch this tape. I don't know how successful I'm going to be. I really don't like sliding in here, but so be it. Alright, so center of that right there. Center of that is right there. What you want to do is line that piece up, this piece, like so. Everything is where we want it to be. Also kind of isn't, because that side just fell. So, as you can see, if this doesn't work, you kind of need a plan B. We have one, I swear. It just kind of sucks. So, since nothing can go easy, plan B. What we found out is that there are holes in this splitter, like we showed you before, that are actually meant to be screw holes. Well, it looks like, from what I can tell getting under here, that these screw holes line up with bolts that hold this bumper on to begin with. But if we undo these bolts, it looks like we'll be able to mount this, which will work out perfectly. I may have to drill a couple holes out here for this, and another one over here, but all in all, these should fit just fine. However, in true my luck fashion, some of these are Allen holes, Allen bolts. I hope they're Allen. They could be torque. GM has an affinity for torque these days. So I could have torque bolts under here, could have Allen bolts under here. I'm not quite sure which just yet, because I don't have my glasses on again. I should probably get those on. And, sorry, my fingers are not what they used to be. So yes, I'm putting things in my mouth I probably shouldn't be. Oops. I want to make sure we loosen them. No, that I have a feeling is going to be Torx. Oh, look at that. Torx. 2 Torx. And the rest of these are going to be Allen. Or not Allen, excuse me. They're going to be sockets. Alright. Now the issue is, they look like a 7, but my normal 7 got damaged the other day while I was working on a turbo. So, we're going to go with a overkill extra long deep ball socket that we really don't need to use, but we're going to use. Now we're going to be smart, I hope. It sounds smart, but what we're going to do is we're going to only take off one side. We're only going to take off this near side, because if for whatever reason there's a problem getting these lined back up, because because we are dealing with an aftermarket part that is of questionable quality. God, that one doesn't even look tight, because it's not. These are the things you want to check out while you're doing this. Since we're going to deal with a part that is not exactly positively what we need it to be, we're going to go with just doing half of these and making sure everything lines up the way we want it. Now naturally, the first bolt we want to put in was one of those torque bits. So yeah. Now bolt change. I want to put a shout out here to my son who got me this snap-on cordless screwdriver for Christmas last year. Oh my God, you want to talk about a godsend. This thing is awesome. He also got me a cordless impact wrench and a cordless ratchet, both of which are also like this. Absolutely awesome. Let's make sure we got this. Put this through the right hole, both here and up here. A little more difficult. Line this up. What as I knock the camera over.
I'm done.
Oh, that's not a good sign. That's not a good sign. That's not what you want to see. Sorry, Sky. Not that Sky. Alright, so back. So when we tried to put this in, this wouldn't go in. And this is exactly what I was worried about, is not being able to get these back in once they're out, which is why we only took part of them off. Just for this reason here. If we didn't, we would wind up having minutes. I'm going to knock over the camera again. It's just a matter of time. I apologize now. Oh, there goes the camera. Again. Alright, let's try a different screw. This is one of the torques. This is obviously not working. So what we're going to do instead, try one of these. And I'll go put you guys right there. That might be a better position for you. I don't know. I may knock you down sooner. I'm apologizing if I do. Okay, these were longer. So that one came out the very far end. So we're going back with one of these. This will work. I'm trying to ladder, not the former. Oh, no, 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 no. And there goes the camera again. This is going to be a running gag, I can tell. Alright, that one worked. Woohoo! Hi, welcome back to the Camera Falls Over show. This tripod, apparently this tripod needs to have more tripodiness, because it's just not wanting to work. I don't even know what you guys are looking at right now, so we're going to put that there, and hopefully that works. Alright. That is perfectly aligned. So with that solved, now we can get out of the car and see which one of these we can use and which one of these we can't. So we know right now this one we can use and we're going to use. But we have more holes, and we have more holes in fittings. That is for sure the case. So that one we can use, that one we can't, that one we can. We have a mirror over here, we kind of do. So we can use those two, but that one we can't. That one's way off. That one we can use, that one we can use, and I think that one we need to drill a hole for. But that will work. This will work. So we need to put two of these back. And it's basically going to be, or one of these back, actually, only one. We only need to put that one back. And we can do that. That's going to be one of the Torx bits. Alright, so good news. This will work. This will work. Bad news is we're going to have to take some of these bolts out. Which is fine. What we're going to do here is we're going to put these Torx bits back in the areas where we have the screws that we can't use. And the reason we're going to do that is they get covered up once you put all this back together. You won't be able to use them, you won't be able to see them. Of course, the key is, which ones were they? I think it was this one? Yeah. Well, we can always double check. What you're going to do now, and I'm going to apologize now for knocking over the camera, because that's exactly what's going to happen. Yeah, it's that one and that one. That's out. By the way, if you're doing this, you're working on plastic like this, highly advisable to make sure your torque setting on your power tool is set very, very low. Mine is set currently to 3 out of 10. 10 being I'm drilling, I'm not torquing anything. So it's very, very low. That's why you'll hear this thing kind of do mini ugga-duggas. I don't know what the ugga-duggas are called if you're dealing with a quarter screwdriver, but it's a quarter screwdriver version of the ugga-dugga. There, that's the cordless version of the ugga-dugga. Now, we have these two in place. This is kind of nice because before, remember I told you I was worried about lining things up and not having them line up and all that crud? Well, I don't know how much of this you're going to see, but we have one bolt here and we have one bolt over here. And by doing it this way, bring that camera down a little bit. By doing it this way with one here and one here, we've got both sides of this piece here secured. So now we can go through again, making sure we're loosening and not tightening. Take out the rest of these screws under here. There. Now, one thing I've noticed is that this piece, the new splitter, doesn't have bolts for these holes out here. It doesn't have holes for these bolts out here. So we're going to drill those out. Start with a bolt that we know is good, which is going to be this one over here. Make sure you get the right one. That would really suck to go through all this. Because once you get the first one, the first one's going to be the hard one. Once the first one's in, the rest are going to be a piece of cake. Because the first one, you're trying to hold the splitter, hold the screw, grab the drill, use the cordless screwdriver. And as you can see, you may fumble. The fact that my hands are kind of numb right now, and there goes the camera again. Well, what kind of work would it be if I'm not killing the camera every now and then, right? There we go. Now bring you back to life. Rise. Alright. Back a little bit. I know, big hand in the way. Alright, so we got the one in. Everything's looking good so far. Now let's see if everything else lines up. And let's pray that it does. Now the good news is with this in place like this, the double-sided tape seems to be kind of working. Yeah. It actually is doing its job. Sort of a little bit. Alright, apparently that outside one is not going to go in where we want it to. That's okay. Under here. Right now we're going to put in a couple of these bolts on the outside edge. I hope you can hear me. We're going to start on the outside edge with these bolts. Maybe, if you want to cooperate and play. And the reason we're doing that is this will hold the ends in place while we do the rest. And now that I have to move over here, the odds of knocking over the camera are even higher. Because, you know, it's me. By the way, no, this is not a day where I'm being, like, klutzier than normal. This is my average klutz. Matter of fact, the fact that I haven't started bleeding somewhere yet, as I jinx myself probably, is a positive thing. Alrighty. Yeah, these holes, it's interesting, these holes were actually designed to be used with the factory hole. For something this inexpensive, I'm actually kind of impressed, because I would have thought these kind of things would have been, you know, what are the chances you're going to use the factory screw locations? I mean, come on. This is a cheap eBay $50 splitter. Well, it just goes to show that sometimes cheap doesn't mean bad. I mean, granted, again, this is a plastic. This is not a fiberglass or carbon fiber kind of thing. So it's not, this isn't race quality. You're going racing with this car, which would be kind of funny because it's not the V. I wish it was the V. You see the trouble I'm having with this. This is ridiculous. But if this was a V, you're going to want something a little bit more than this. But I think a V comes with this already. This is a V style, I believe. Not actually a V. Part. I don't even know if I need to use this other screw hole. Oh, come on. Another screw hole right here, and under it we have the right about here we have that Torx bit head bolt. But really, we might put one in there just for poops and giggles, but really that's feeling really secure. This bolt, I thought we were gonna have to use this hole out here, but we don't. So naturally, that I didn't have to take off, but what we did need to do is we need to probably put one in here, because this has no bolt from the end of this out, and so putting one there would help secure it. Now, I will say this piece comes right against the fender. You can't see it here, but I'll show you in a bit. And it is very close to coming in contact with the wheel. Matter of fact, a corner of this is in the wheel well. So this may be something where we have to trim this off and sand this down just a little bit to clear the wheel. But on the outside edge, she's flush. That doesn't give me a great deal of confidence. No, but I guess that's in. Yeah, it's moving the bumper. If it's moving the bumper, it's in. This one over here is going to be out. This one actually holds in this little, I don't even know if you can see it where I'm at over here, but there's a little like fender thing that is not on that side. Come here. There we go. Now, this did come with some screws. I don't know if these screws were meant to be, like, extended. Like, hey, you know, you're going to need these because you need all these screws. Or if they were just meant for what I'm doing right now. Or what. But we have screws that we're going to have to use for what we're doing right this second. So all my Kappa friends, while I'm sitting here trying to get up back the screws, I should mention that this car, much like our beloved Kappas, require lifting pucks. That's right. We're back to lifting pucks. But these lifting pucks are not the same lifting pucks we need for our cars. Oh no, that would be too easy. That would be far too easy. These, what they call pinch weld lifting pucks. So under this chassis, you have pinch welds. We basically have, imagine two pieces of flat metal that come together and they weld it there. And it's really thick metal and it's short. The pieces are maybe only, well, I don't know, a quarter inch or so. But what they do is they made up to the chassis, the unibody of this car, because obviously it's not a chassis car like ours. And where it meets up is where you're supposed to jack. That pinch weld is where you're supposed to jack. Well, you can't put a jack, like a regular jack, a floor jack under that and lift, because guess what? White cars damages the car. That's bad. So you have to get these special adapters, these lifting pucks that are nothing like the Kappa lifting pucks, to go in those locations and basically do the exact same thing that our lifting pucks would do. Oh, that's funny. There we go. Yeah. Alright. So I was talking about this. We have lift pucks in Skies and Solstice. There may be people here that are watching this that don't have a Sky or Solstice. Maybe you have a Cadillac, like me, and also. And you know what? We're gonna put this a little bit better so you can see what I'm doing. As I talk about it, I think I'm laying on a screw. So we have lifting pucks in the Sky, and these lifting pucks, just like in the Cadillac, are there to allow you to lift the car without damaging it. And in the Sky, they look something like a hockey puck.
Let's see how many liters I'm using in that.
And they're about that thickness, and that's all they're really for. I mean, we have a centering pin for it, so we can like put them in the chassis and center them where they need to be, so they stay stable. And I highly recommend you use those. The ones I have are actually made of aluminum. They're meant for BMWs or Corvettes, but they're the same thing for our cars. This car, however, uses a very different one. I'll show you that in a second, because this is the last screw that's going in here, I think. There we go. No ugget-duggets for this, because yeah, it's in plastic. As I was saying about this, as I start to clean up, the lifting pucks we have for the Sky are they're aluminum, about the size of a hockey puck, like I said. This one, there's the same diameter as a hockey puck. I mean, if you looked at it from below, other than the fact that these are orange and the ones for my Sky are silver, they look about the same. But these are flat on the bottom. They're not thick. The ones for the Sky actually have some depth to them. So they are like the thickness of a hockey puck, where these are not. They're flat. Now they're taller. They're the same height because they have a little lip to lock into the lifting point, which I'll show you in a second. But they're very different, and you couldn't use one for the other. So I had to buy more lifting pucks.
Let's see how many liters I'm using in that.
And they're about that thickness, and that's all they're really for. I mean, we have a centering pin. All right, back again. Told you I was going to show you these pucks. So I'll show you where they go, what they do. So when you get down here, and you look, here you can see the puck, the same way as this one. But that's what that's for, is just to put the plate for the jack. I'll get that on here. And again, I don't know if you can see this or not. I don't know how it's going to get on here, but you just roll this under here like that. And no, I'm not going to jack this with my head under the tire. I'm just going to get this lined up so you can see how it kind of lines up with it. And there you go. Let's bring this down. Like so. And yes, I have the other side as well.
One's higher on.
Let me get this down, and then I'll show you guys what this looks like. These are lifting pucks for the Cadillac As you can see, they're round, they're very flat. And basically you see those channels in the top, those channels where it goes into the pinch weld I told you about. And if you look, you see these two little dots in the bottom of them, those are magnets. So basically once you put those in, they just stay in place with magnets. And then you lift the car. So anyway, that's it. Like I said, I'll show you the front now that we're done. Let me clean the wheels a bit, move the car around so it gets to its right height, and we'll go from there. Alright, so we're back here shooting the last video with the splitter on the Cadillac. I actually shot this a couple days ago, but yeah, for some reason the video didn't record the audio. So you have a better idea now what it looks like out in the sun. It says it's got a nice look to it, lowers it just a little bit. But as I mentioned before, this is not the sturdiest splitter. If you're getting this for performance, it's not really going to do anything because it's just not sturdy enough. If you look over here, if I take this, you can see where I can bend that pretty easily. It's secure. It's not going to go anywhere, but it's not going to do anything either. You're really looking to get something that's going to make the car hold the road a little bit better. This is not going to be this part for you. If you want something that makes it look a little better, looks a little more like a V, this would work. As you can see here, I'll get one over here where this actually in the wheel well, you can see how this splitter does line up really well. Like I said, for a part that was really inexpensive on eBay, this works really good if you're just going for the looks like I am. This car will get autocross, but again, this doesn't do anything for autocross if it wasn't functional. So anyway, yeah, pretty happy with it. Looks nice. You still got the little seams, you know, it's not perfect. Again, $50 eBay, can't really beat it. And again, from this distance, she looks pretty good. Alrighty, so that's it. That should cover all this. I'm glad you guys tuned in, glad you watched to the end. Still getting used to using a selfie stick. I'm old, I know, it just is. Anyway, that's it for the Caddy and the front splitter install and a little bit about the lifting pucks for this car. I don't have the lifting pucks for my Sky with me. I showed the comparison between the two because they are vastly different. One would not work for the other, but those are with the car where it's at right now. It's getting some tweaks done to it in Arizona. A little shout out to RPM Motorsports working on my baby. I miss her, want to get her back. She will be here with the Cadillac. Sorry, Cadillac's going to have to go outside. But priorities, convertible. It's sunny out. It's my Sky. Cadillac's nice, but I love the Sky. It's firstborn. Kind of thing. Anyway, so when she gets back, she'll be back here. We'll probably do a video when she gets back on that. I don't know what to do next. If you guys have any ideas, if there's something you want to see, something you want me to cover, something you want me to talk about, I don't know why you want to listen to me ramble, but hey, who knows. Anyway, give me a shout in the comments. Let me know what you want to hear. Let me know what you want to see on this channel. Thank you again for tuning in. I'm not going to do the subscribe and like thing. You know what to do if you want to help me out. Cool. If not, don't worry about it. You don't feel any pressure to do so. No obligation, right? Anyway, that's it for now. Thanks again from Force 10 Racing Garage, and we'll see you next time. This is Robotech. Bye for now.